Paul picked up that first away point of the season at Millwall on Saturday, which means, as you correctly mentioned, post-game, I've got to think of at least one different question for you today. I'm sure, though, you're pleased to have got off the mark, aren't you?
Yeah, obviously I'm pleased every time we pick up something, but we went there to try and win, and in fairness to Millwall, they made it really difficult for us and caused us problems as well, and when needed upon, Jakob made saves. But yeah, obviously you don't want to... No one's in football not to win games, but if you're not going to win, the next best thing is to get a point, and especially away from home. So, yeah, another point in the bank. So, yeah, move on to the next away game.
I wanted to ask again about Jerry Yates and really more the reaction to his goal and what it said from his teammates and from supporters as well, and what it says about his standing in the group and what he does for the team.
Yeah, he's really popular. I mean, I made a joke about, it's probably his best goal of his career, but I just think his work ethic, and I mean, everybody trains hard at this football team. I appreciate that, but as a centre forward, you're always judged on goals, really. Luckily, my career wasn't, but it's just his desire and drive, really, at the front of the pitch, and at times, especially when you're up front on your own, you run from centre half to the goalkeeper to the centre half, goes back to the keeper, and we're encouraging him to keep going. So it takes a lot of mental fortitude as well as physical. But he's like a funny part of the dressing room. The lads get on with him. It's like he's been here forever a day. So he fitted in really easily. He's not it sounds awful really, but he's not a flash kid or anything like that. He's just a proper footballing lad. So he's a popular member of the group. So for him to score like that, I said to him, I had a conversation with him walking around the training pitch on Thursday, I think it was, saying, look, your performances have been excellent. Like, the goals are just the cherry, obviously, but it's not like he's missing 3 one-on-ones a game. We're not a team that have created, plenty of chances every game. He's missing, and I'm thinking, right, I need to put someone else on, put Colo on, or put Dej on, or bring Wash in, or something like that. I think his performances have been good. So, yes, I'm really pleased for him that he got his goal, and yeah, it's probably a little bit similar to, look, it wasn't needed. It wasn't like in the same way as like we didn't desperately need that away point. Like, we can't sleep at night thinking about it. We do everything we can to try and win, and if we don't, you have to forget about it quickly and go on to the next one. And it's the same with Jerry, really. I think didn't score in a few games. Maybe could have pulled the trigger a couple of times if I was being hugely critical. But he scored it. But there'll be something else to worry about tomorrow night, and then Saturday, and it goes on, doesn't it? So, but really pleased for him. I obviously enjoyed the fact that someone picked him up. It looked hilarious. So that will go on our points wall and probably his goal celebration photo.
You described him after the game as an iceberg player, which I liked. Do you see? I mean, I never saw you play. Do you see a bit of yourself in him with the work rate and the effort and the energy and that sort of thing?
I feel like your football education is lacking if you didn't see me play.
I'll get on YouTube in a bit.
Oh, you'd have took on so much. I think, yeah, I do. I do see a lot of me in him. I do, obviously. And I think, you can't have 11 people, it sounds awful this, but you can't have 11 people who play the piano but no one who carries it, that old classic. You've got to have some people who are in the team. In the same way, Ebbs plays a completely different midfield role to Kenzo, doesn't he? So I think in the same way as when Colo plays, his work ethic's the same, as his Washes, as his Dages, to be fair. But I do think that Jerry is like constantly like a bumblebee. Like, I wouldn't want to play against him. He's constantly causing problems. And we always say about our press at times, if we go after teams, it's not sometimes the first person who wins the ball back. It might be he presses, then Caden presses, the ball speed picks up, the next pass is rushed, and then all of a sudden, a Ryan Nyambi or a Kane or whatever can pick the ball up and we get it. So he's the driving force of our team at times, even though he doesn't get the highlighted bit of it, if that makes sense.
Off to Oxford on Tuesday, I should say. I know you like to look forward, but the last visit there was quite a memorable game. How do you reflect on that 3-2 win back in December, I think it was?
Yeah. Well, every away win's enjoyable. I know we had loads last year, but that was right up there because you could just feel the game was after we'd given away a couple of goals. I just felt like we were going to get back into it, and sometimes you feel it as probably a fan a pundit, whatever, a manager, a coach, whatever the case may be, you just sort of feel that the wave, and you're thinking like, well, we're going to get another chance, we're going to get another chance, and obviously Tomo to score as well was great. So yeah, I remember the game vividly. I remembered another game before when I took a team there, and it was just after Rich lost his brother, so that was another pertinent moment in our football story, really. So we've had positive results there, but I do remember that one really clearly, because even though we were 2-0 down, I thought we were playing well. And you know, sometimes score lines can be kind to you, and sometimes they can be harsh, and I didn't think we deserved to be losing 2-0, although we'd made 2 howling mistakes. But to go on and win it was great, and they're the nights, as a fan or whatever, you're part of, because, and that's what's amazing about football and live sport, you just don't know what you're going to see. You don't. And if you leave 20 minutes before the end and your team are losing, you find out they've won, you're like, oh my, how did I miss it? And similar, it can happen the other way, and that's what makes it great, and that's what makes it enjoyable and worthwhile to be part of. So thoroughly enjoyed it, and hopefully there'll be evenings and away games like that this season.
I asked about Max Bird before you faced him a few weeks ago, so I should ask you about Louis Sibley. Reunited with him on Tuesday night. Is it a different place without him at Moor Farm? Because Sibs is nothing if not a character, isn't he?
Yes, it's always sad. I always say this at the end of a season, like you sort of drop a bag of marbles and some like roll off, hit the wall and stay in, and some roll off and go under the door and you're not to be seen again. So it's always sad when players come, especially people like Sibs, because he's like the fabric of this football club for many years. So I do miss seeing him around the coffee machine and that. I had many a comical conversation with him. So yeah, I do miss him, and obviously there's even times now where I think, oh, I could do with Sibs today or whatever. But so obviously he's gone on, and when he scored his first goal against Pompey, a very Louis goal, everyone's nodding in the room, so I know you all agree. And I texted him that night to congratulate him on his first goal, so it'd be good to see him. And you know, I know a lot of his teammates at Oxford really well, so he's doing well, and obviously he'll no doubt play a part tomorrow night, so I look forward to seeing him.
And just finally, I don't know if you have had your reports and updates yet, because it's early on Monday when we speak, but Ryan Amby, is there any update on him at all?
No, he's getting scanned today. He is, his knee is swollen. We are expecting the scan to come back with damage. We're not expecting, you know, more hopeful. It's more about the fact we know there's something's happened. It's just the severity of it. So fingers crossed that we get the best news we can for Ryan, because, you know, first and foremost, he's a good kid, a great human being who does everything he can to be in the best possible shape. But for the team as well, we need him. So we're hoping for good news.